Screw it. Hey everyone, this is your friendly neighborhood. So why the mask? Pretty interesting. There was a comment on one of our ads run last week, and I think it was last week, from a Nathan Willens who basically said something to the effect of, "Hey, I'm impressed that I keep seeing your ads, but I'm kind of sick of seeing your face." I asked him what part of me he would rather see, and he suggested a costume of some sort. So this is why I've crammed my face into a child's mask here, Halloween costume. So, and he also suggested if he saw an ad with me wearing a costume in his feed, he would spend 200 Mecha Warehouse. So here I am. That's what this is all about. So let's take this thing off, because if you could see my face under this mask, I am squinting so hard I think I look like Max Payne from the video games. So anyway, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse. Welcome to weekly update number 24. Interesting week, tons of stuff to talk about. So let's get right into it with the week in review. This is the section where I talk about stuff that happened this week. And first up, the paint rack that I needed, that we had this whole fiasco last week, is actually in already, thanks to a little bit of heroics from one of our account executives, account reps, whatever you want to call it, at one of our suppliers where we were supposed to get the rack from. They helped us get one, got one in, and working on filling it out now. So that'll be good. Hopefully it'll be filled before the restock tomorrow, so we don't have to worry about picking from the cart. If you saw any of the pictures of the cart yesterday or Wednesday, whenever it was Tuesday, I don't know. Some point I posted pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff with all the paint kind of laid out. This will be a whole lot better. And yeah, let's see what else. Also, the coins, I mentioned the coins last week. This is that new 2021 challenge coin. Beautiful challenge coin. These, almost all of them have been sent out. All the pre-orders are out. I got a few left as of the time I'm filming this. I don't expect them to last long. If you want one, they're for Discord members only. You're going to want to get on the Discord really fast if you want one, because honestly, they might be gone by the time you see this. I don't know. But those have all been sent out, which is really cool. Starting to see a few pictures of them showing up in the wild, which is exciting. And yeah, it's really exciting for me. I love the idea of producing something and creating my own thing and putting it out in the world. I love selling gunpla and kits and all that kind of stuff. But when we create Mecha Warehouse stuff and put that out in the world, I think it's another whole sense of pride. It's kind of like being a parent, I guess, which is just really cool. Also, the other kind of big one, I mentioned a few weeks ago about a big restock that's coming. We got a couple different rounds of that. One of them was supposed to be late March or early April. I think that early April one is probably turning into mid-April, but I think it's going to ship really soon. And I think that because my account rep sent me an in-stock list, I was able to actually order some more stuff to come in for this early April time frame, I think. So I presume, based on the stuff that was available for order, that those shipments have come in, and it's just waiting for my turn to get my shipments packed up and sent out. And they're going to be pretty big ones, I think. So it might take a minute. I'm hoping they come out soon. I'm excited to get more stock in here. I don't know if you can tell from here, probably not super well, but the shelves are starting to thin out in places. I think I've said this before too, but the new website definitely directed people towards what's running out of stock the fastest, and people have doubled down on those items and they're disappearing, which is both cool and a little bit scary because things are getting sparse and I need to fill those spaces, but it's all good. And I'll touch back on, I mentioned this last week, I am hiring a media assistant. I need somebody to edit these videos and some of the other content I want to create. If you are local here in New Hampshire or Massachusetts, somewhere near the warehouse, and wouldn't mind coming in a couple days a week to help shoot and edit video and maybe do some other media stuff, podcasts, photography, whatever, any of that kind of stuff, definitely check the hiring link down below and check out that job description and apply. I think I've gotten like one application so far. I would like to get some more. and I need people that are here in New Hampshire, or at least can work here in New Hampshire, because I think it will give me a whole lot more opportunity to leverage that person to do bigger, better, and cooler things. Anyway, that's this week in review. Let's move on to restocks. Restocks this week are going to be actually pretty big. We got a lot of stuff in, and this stuff was actually in last week, but it just wasn't ready to go on the website yet. And I'm really glad after getting it ready this week that I didn't try to rush to have it ready for last Friday, because I probably would have died. It took me the better part of this week to get everything checked in, to get the listings created. And a big part of that is we got in a ton of SD kits. The majority of the shipment is SD. We've got like several full shelves full, and SD kits are pretty small of SD kits. A lot of them new to the store. A lot of them aren't necessarily new kits. Some of them are like the old BB Legends SD kits and stuff, but we have them now, and it just was a lot of work to get everything up and running. So I'm not going to show you every single kit, otherwise this would be like a 20-minute long video. It would be just holding a box after box, I think. But I got a few notable ones or examples. We got a bunch of SDEX kits in. This is like, I think, one of the newer SD lines. They're relatively simple, but pretty cool nonetheless. I think I built an SDEX a while back, the Wing Zero, which is pretty good kit. The SD BB, which is actually a bunch of different lines in theory. Some of them are very similar to just the base kit. Some of them are a lot more fanciful, I guess. There's a few different lines. Here's another example, the Command Gundam, kind of another cool SD kit here. We also got SDCS kits in. This is probably my favorite SD line personally. These are the ones that have the cross silhouette frame that lets you change proportions. You can see on the box art, they've got two different ones here. This is the Mazinger. We got Mazen Kaiser, and we've got another Super Robot one too, as well as some Gundam kits. Let's see if there's any good stuff on here. But yeah, you can swap in the CS frame. I don't know if you can see that very well, but you basically can change proportions. It's really cool. I've done the ground Gundam from that line, and it was honestly one of my favorite kits. Awesome kit to paint. Just really good potential from a kit like that. And then finally, just to represent one of the other SD lines, we've got these dudes in. These are the we call them Sengoku Soketsuden, the SD Gundam World. They're super far out there, tons of effect parts and clear parts, over-the-top design. They're kind of cool looking. I honestly hate them because they're a pain in the butt to pack. This is a really tall kit, so it doesn't fit in the small box, but it doesn't really fill out the bigger box, so they start getting interesting to pack. We got a bunch of those in as well. We haven't had those in a while. So tons of SD kits. So whatever your preference is for SD kits, if you happen to be an SD builder, definitely take a look. We also got the Spherical, 3 more of the Spherical, the original kits that were put out there. I think the 120. I guess some are 120 and some are 124th scale. I found that out this week. But those are in as well. Let me go grab one or two. So we got a couple of these. The white one, which is the Ichiro Ogami type. We got the pink one, the Sakura Shinguji type, and there's the purple one too on the shelf. So we got those in as well. We also got the aqueous paints from Mr. Hobby. That's the new line that we needed the rack for. We've got most of it. There's a few colors I think that we weren't able to get right away, but there's about 100 colors there. And so basically that's Mr. Hobby, but acrylic. So safer to paint with if you're worried about fumes and toxicity and stuff like that. But basically a lot of the same colors. There's only 100 options or so, as opposed to several hundred for the original Mr. Color line. But most of those extra colors in the Mr. Color line are like random shades of green and gray and whatever for tanks and planes and stuff like that. So for for the most part, you shouldn't be at a disadvantage using the aqueous if that is what you want. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe I'm finally figuring this out. So that's restocks for this week. Let's move on to Q&A. So once again, just to prime this, when I do Q&A, I'm answering questions from you, the viewers. These are questions that were all asked last week on our weekly update video. So if you would like to ask a question about Mecha Warehouse, about me, about business, about gunpla, whatever you want to ask, please post the question down below. I would love to answer it, and I'll do my best to answer it next week or at least in the coming several weeks. So first up, we got a question from Victor Moreno. Would you ever carry any more general anime stuff? Figures is mostly what I'm thinking of. And the answer is yes, eventually we will. In the short term, I would like to focus primarily on kits, right? We haven't done Gundam Converge or the Universe figures or any of that kind of stuff yet. I think that stuff would be somewhat popular, but we're really focused right now on the model aspect, the model hobby, and everything that goes along with that, with the intent to eventually expand into those other options. But it's kind of like, it's a slightly different marketing base. Some people are into the figures and gunpla, but there are a lot of people that are just into figures or just into gunpla. And if I'm marketing to gunpla people, then I have to now start marketing to just general anime or people that buy figures, or however you would differentiate those people. I'm not necessarily sure how I'd want to do that yet. And I've got a limited budget, so I'd rather spend it on really satisfying the needs of this one sub niche until I feel like I've got it, and then I'll start moving on. So at some point we'll see that kind of stuff. Not for the immediate future though. Maybe next year or later in the year, depending on how the growth trajectory goes. Next question is from Leath1. Q&A, what is your most hated and favorite thing of your first PG besides the time? And if you could go back, would you choose a different PG to do instead? So I think you nailed it with the time thing. It's a lot of work. That's just a lot of hours going into a PG compared to anything else. And I think I picked a PG that has a lot of hours. I mean, it took me over 24 hours to do the original base kit, plus the add-on parts. I'd love to paint it and like do all the detail stuff to a really great degree. There's no way I'm going to be doing that. I just don't have the time. I'll be working on this for the next 2 years. But since you asked favorite thing or hated thing besides that, so I really love the detail and some of the gimmicks, all the open hatch stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of potential to pose and display it in this like half open, like under maintenance kind of thing, which is kind of what they show in the box actually. And that's what I plan to do with it. So I really kind of love that aspect of the kit, and I think it's going to look great. The most hated part, there's a few parts where the instructions weren't really great, and because of the gimmicks, they were hard. So like the shield can open up and like expand. And I think when I was building this originally, I think I probably got to the got to the shield, and I was probably like 5 in the morning or something and greatly lacking sleep. It was just really hard to follow and get it to actually function the way that I expected it to. I ended up taking it apart several times and having to really play with it to get everything right. So that kind of stunk. But I don't think I would go pick a different PG. I probably could have picked another one. It would have been easier to complete. But I really like this one, and it was definitely a huge challenge, especially for the live stream. So it's a good one. I definitely recommend it if you want a PG. It's a good kit. Just make sure you got time. MWG asks, love the new coin design. Yes. Here's my question. What is something you found out after the fact about starting a business you could pass on to those who want to start up their own? So there's probably a million things. I feel like I've learned a ton being in business and starting businesses. Technically, this is my 4th business that I started. The first being my consulting business, the second being the dojo, the third being a small tech startup that never really went anywhere, and then this is the 4th one. The thing that carries through all of them, and the most important thing for somebody who wants to start their own, is don't be afraid to make mistakes and to screw up and fail. Failing isn't really failure, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. I mean, it can be, but the one thing that I think anyone who wants to start a business should realize is that overanalyzing and dreaming about it and thinking about it indefinitely isn't going to get you there. At some point, you need to pick out something that you can do, some aspect of what you want to do, and just go for it. And I think Mecha Warehouse is the biggest example of this. It didn't start as a gunpla shop. It started as my attempt to resell books online. And I thought that would be a way to do things, a way to make money. And so I tried it. I decided how much money I was willing to risk, set aside maybe $1,000, bought a bunch of books, tried to sell them, realized it kind of sucked and I didn't like it. And then went from there, decided I'm going to try to buy gunpla and sell gunpla on Amazon. So I found a place I could buy gunpla. I set aside some money. I bought some gunpla, figured out I could kind of sell them, found the weaknesses in that plan, and adjusted. I think looking back at myself prior to this latest phase in my business life, so to speak, my wife would always joke about me having a dream in the minute, some business idea or thing I wanted to do, but it always stayed a dream. I would just, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I think until you're ready to just go do it, pick something out and do it, start today, not, 2 years from now, the sooner you'll figure out if it works or not, and you'll find out. It's the same thing. Someone asked me last summer, I think, like, hey, how much money do I need? What do I need to do to start a gunpla shop? And it's like, dude, set aside some money, buy some stuff and try to sell it. Because if you hate that, this whole thing isn't going to work. It's going to suck. So whatever you want to do in business, you got to try to figure out how to go do it, because doing something and failing at it or not having it work out is going to teach you a lot more than analyzing it for hours and days, weeks, years. That was a great question. Okay, next one is from Eduardo. Q&A, what is your least favorite part of the gunpla building process? This is a good question too. I really enjoy the snap building part. I'm into the mechanics, how things go together. I'm an engineer by training, and so I always find that stuff interesting. I also really like water slide decals because it really adds to the level of detail, and I like that detail and getting everything. I like trying to get all the details there and having everything look just right. It's tough. I don't think I've hit that mark yet. I don't think we ever really hit that mark because there's always something that could be better. But that I love. Probably least favorite part is kind of a surprise to people. I kind of hate sanding. I do it because I want everything to look good. I want the nubs to look good or everything to be smooth. But it's kind of a pain in the butt. It's kind of repetitive. Sometimes it's really hard depending on where the nubs are. And if there's a way to not have to sand as much, I would be all for it. Okay, next question is from Rolling Fire. Hey Nick, I got a question. Does your employee get a discount if they want to buy a kit? If yes, how much is the percentage? So yes, our employees get a discount. It's a really good discount. I'm not going to just publicize it over the air, but the discount is really good and is pretty close to being at our cost on items. It kind of depends on the item. It's kind of hard to explain. That's part of why I don't want to just put this out into the world, but it's a really good discount and better than you're going to get a sale price on anything anywhere. So if you're looking for a media job and want to edit videos for me, you can also save money on kits in addition to getting paid and getting to work with me. It'd be better if I edited that sound in, but I'm not going to. All right. And that's all I have for questions today. So thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Once again, if you have a question, post it down below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.